Welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Switchball HD, which is a weird thing to call this. So, a bit of history into Switchball. This game is not new in the sense that it came out in 2021, like the release date says. This game originally came out in 2007. It was an early fixture on the Xbox Live Arcade service. That's how long ago we're talking about here. The unusual part is this is being called Switchball HD. I know the Xbox 360 was a while ago at this point, but that was still an HD console. In fact, I remember, when games got re-released on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, they were called That Game HD. Because that was true, even if it was just the resolution bumped to 720p. This game has always been in HD, so calling it HD does not make sense. In fact, I'm not even sure, if anything's been done to this. Because it did have a PC version back in the day as well. So, bit of an oddity there. But I suppose it doesn't matter all that much. Anyway, so Switchball is in that lineage of games where you play a marble. I know it's not called a marble, but it's it's a marble. See games all the way back to Marble Madness. Around that time, when I think of Xbox Live Arcade games that involve, marble balls, I think of Marble Blast Ultra. The Wii had a preponderance of these kind of games, like Kotor Rimpa. Archer McLean's Mercury is a cousin to this. Super Monkey Ball, obviously. So this game is actually a bit different than a lot of those games, because the way a marble game is usually set up is you are usually in the case of Marble Madness or Marble Blast, you are a marble and you're trying to get to the end of the stage as quick as possible, maybe collect something along the way. In the case of Marble Super Monkey Ball and Kotor Rimpa, you don't control the marble directly, you control the stage around it. In the case of Switchball, you control the marble directly, but the goal is different. It's a puzzle game. You're still tasked to get to the end of the stage, but you've got to figure out a few things before you can get to the end. They're not ultra complicated puzzles, if they are indeed puzzles, but they are puzzles nonetheless, and that's more than you get with any other marble ball game I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of tools,
this reminds me of those levels from Mario Galaxy that were really annoying.
Now, in terms of tools, your primary puzzle-solving device will be crates. Two kinds of crates. They're the wooden ones, which can be pushed by most balls. There's an exception there. And then there's the metal crates, which you will need one of the power-ups for. There are 3 different power-ups, or differential balls, if you will. There's the air ball, which allows for helium to be injected into it, and that's actually pretty literal. and part of the puzzle solving. There's the metal ball, which allows you to push metal objects, but leaves you vulnerable to magnets. Also, the air ball leaves you very vulnerable to fans. These are two of the obstacles you have to deal with. And then there's the power ball, which you have to charge up and is made magnetic. So, and they all factor into the puzzle solving. And, not in every stage, but they are all part of the overall tool set, let's say. Other level quirks, you've got the aforementioned fans and magnets. You've got cannons, which are fairly infrequent, but they are what they are. You go into the cannon and you shoot out like a cannonball, usually to destroy a whole bunch of blocks stacked together. This game does like its blocks. There are also sheets of cloth, which you can roll on if you are not the metal ball. There's a fair amount of interplay between the balls. Though do keep in mind this is an Xbox Live Arcade release, so it's it's not as much as if it were say I'd say a full retail release from back in the day. Like the levels, they're fairly lengthy the first time around. Like they'll take you a few minutes to get through, either through puzzle solving, or there are some times when you do have to just use pure skill. Like I'm reminded portions of the air ball where I had to maneuver over spikes. There wasn't it wasn't exactly a brain teaser, but more a check of skill. Especially the vertical section. But there are two modes. There's the standard mode, and then there's the time mode. That's the mode where you go for the best time, and you get requisite bronze, silver, and gold stars. I think what's most unusual here is what's missing. Galax, can you guess what's missing here? It's not immediately obvious until I point it out.
Camera control?
No, you have full camera control. Unfortunately, like Petty couldn't get windowed mode working, so we're not getting the like
terrain physics.
No, but once again, if this were a more involved game, I would expect Xbox 360.
Well, I'm clearly barking up the wrong trees, so go ahead.
Collectibles.
Okay, yeah, that's usually you expect something like, oh, hey, here's a hard part of the level to get to with a shiny thing on it that it'll say you got it if you get it.
Yeah, like I said, closest thing you get are the medals for the time portions. But that's just, it's not bad. It's just unconventional, especially like around this time where you'd expect, get the diamond or, insert collectible here. Also worth noting, there doesn't seem to be any actual story going on here. Like your Switchball isn't a character who's trying to save a princess or, free the.
You're just a ball of questionable animateness.
Yes. No anthropomorphization going on here. No explanation for the world or what you're going through. So if Like, and I'll be honest, it's not missed. Like, honestly, that kind of anthropomorph that is a very hard word to say. Anthropomorphization is kind of
peopleification.
Sure, um, is kind of insulting, along with the plots that go along with it. Like, this isn't a game that needs a story to get by.
You don't need to be a wrecking ball named Iggy to do your rolling.
Right. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you can that can give character to a game because Super Monkey Ball. Um, it's not bad, but on the other hand, sometimes it's Tetris Worlds. And it's just some of the most tacked on stuff, especially if you're in the puzzle game genre, of which this game is. Like, technically speaking, I think it's a 3D platformer puzzle game. Um, Another curious oddity, and this is the last one. This game has certain worlds, but it doesn't play upon them. Like, it's got, like, the second world is Ice World. So what would you expect in Ice World? You would expect ice. You would expect, slippery physics to be part of the level or the world. No ice. I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just noting it was an aesthetic and only an aesthetic. Whereas ordinarily, yeah, you'd have that, you'd have a very slippery terrain going on there. Once again, not bad. It's just unusual. So, yeah, I think that's about it in terms of overall design. In terms of how it all comes together, perfectly fine. Like, this is a perfectly cromulent game. Like, it's not amazing. It's not going to replace, say, Marble Madness or Super Monkey Ball. It's my favorite marble-based game. Weird that we have enough of these to say that, but here we are. But it does. It's engaging and it's unique in combining a sphere with rudimentary puzzles. And as far as like graphically, it still looks impressive. I would chalk that up to a rather strong art direction. Because once again, even though this game was always in HD, it's an Xbox Live Arcade game, and
unfortunately, there's no designation for H or D.
Right. And that is going to reflect in like the designs and the textures, and we're also talking about an Xbox Live Arcade game from 2007, so we're still like 250 MB in terms of size. I think like the biggest Xbox Live Arcade games got up to were about 2 gigs. And that was like later on. So, you were limited in what you could do on the arcade, which was by design. Like, the Xbox Live Arcade service was designed with very small game experiences, and Switchball would have fit right in with that ethos. In fact, it's it's a bit meatier than like an Xbox Live Arcade launch title, I would wager. Anyway, in terms of pricing, so this game clocks in at $8.99, which would put it about the same price as it came out on the Xbox Live Arcade, truth be told. If you remember, they used that confusing point system. Confusing because if I'm remembering correctly, 100 points was not $1. So, like, it was 800 Microsoft points. It was about $10, but not exactly. So, in terms of is this game worth $10 or near abouts there, I'd say so. Not a hard recommendation, but if you want to play a marble game that'll tease your brain cells a bit, this is it. So, any other questions, comments, or concerns about Switchball HD?
I think I'm good.
Okay. So, once again, this will conclude the review session for now. We will have Petty Fan's review of colored effects sometime during the week. All depends on his recovery. And indeed, coming up on the week ahead. So on Wednesday, December 6th, we'll be having Matt Hewson, homebrew game dev, which is part of the story. I'm honestly not sure if we'll be able to get into his day job, which is working at a AAA developer.
Oh man, they don't let you talk about shit.
I honestly don't know. He works at the Coalition. I can't say that much because that was in the that was in the materials I was given for this game. But in his spare time, he does retro homebrew, which has come up on the show every now and again. He is doing a new game for the NES, Game Boy, and arcades called From Below. So we'll be talking about that on Wednesday. And coming up on Friday, oh, and of course, there is a new episode of MSP happening that day. Coming up on Friday, December 8th, we'll be having Caitlin Marceau of Grim Talon. Not Grim Train, as I initially thought. We will be talking about their upcoming release, The Crimson Maid, among their other releases. They got a few here, like Elena Temple, Last Days of Lazarus, and The Long Age. So look for that. And until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.